Good morning, everyone. My name is Indranil Sanyal, and I'm here to present a presentation on my course project in subject wireless communication, numbered triple EEL 6509. I'm a master's student, graduate student at the University of Florida in the Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering, and my course project was to present any upcoming. My course project was based on any challenge or any technology which is now upcoming, like basically the 4G technology which is already established, but basically OFDM, MIMO, anything. So I have chosen the detailed analysis of the OFDM systems. Let us begin. First of all, I would like to thank Dr. Wu or Dr. Oliver Wu Dapan for presenting us this opportunity in presenting a video on this presentations on our course project. Let us begin with the project and its main points. The first of all is let me introduce you to the world of communication. There has been tremendous growth in communications in the last 3 to 4 decades. Whenever a generation changes, whenever a decade changes, there is always a new generation comes up with a newer technology, which is slight, which has altogether a different performance as compared to the older technology in the other generation, in the preceding generation. It takes it takes a technology to the whole new level of in each generation as compared to the preceding generation. So first of all, there are various systems which were responsible for the boom in communications, like the integrated circuit technology, system technology, the RF system, radio frequency circuit technology, which is radio frequency circuit systems were developed very efficiently, and they were managed, as well as the technology for developing evolved faster and faster, and more efficient technologies were developed the concern of the radio frequency. There are different generations of technology. The first is the first generation systems, which evolved around at the times of 1970s. 1970s, they used the most simplest techniques which were known to us, like analog switching techniques, analog signal, not that much of signal processing. Frequency, they used frequency division multiple access as the communication scheme for their systems. There was no concept of mobility, no whatsoever, as well as no concept of multimedia messages, and no supporting of any fax, message, SMS, short message services, nothing like that. Then came the 2G systems, which were slightly better than the 1G systems, which replaced the analog switching techniques with the digital switching techniques, and had a multiple access. It was devised on the basis of TDMA, that is time division multiple access scheme. That may range with frequency division duplex or time division duplex. That depends upon the application, but basically time division duplex was used. So the second generation system used altogether. It also supported a little. It also supported a little bit of paging systems, fax systems. But the biggest advantage of this system was it it completely replaced the analog system to and replaced it with digital system. It completely replaced the analog system. It used digital switching, it used digital packaging services and everything. Then came the 3G systems. 3G systems are a whole together a different thing. It was based on code division multiple access. Here the mobility as well as multimedia messages were started to be given importance. In first two systems, as we see, voice traffic was the main thing. But whenever it come when the 3G system started, it gave more importance to the data traffic, which is more important these days, as we have various data applications which are related to data, which use data, multimedia data, and all. Then came the 4G system. 4G systems are basically based on orthogonal frequency division multiplexing, which is my project, OFDM as we call it. And the features of the systems are, it is totally it supports, it gives equal importance as of voice traffic to the data traffic. It has global mobility. So by global mobility, I mean you don't have to change your handset anywhere. Suppose even if you change the continents, you don't have to change your handset. It will go as usual. It will support your handset and all. Next, the 5G system. 5G systems are currently being developed with a speed of like it is possible to speed of with 100 Mbps, which is basically being developed as MIMO, multiple input, multiple output, with the OFDM, which will be the basis of basic of that. But there are various other important things and other important notions like Internet of Things, big data, which are also going to come into play. But the most important in the communications will be which will be used in today's world, and the 5G systems will be the MIMO OFDM. That is multiple input, multiple output, orthogonal frequency division multiplexing. Now let us proceed to OFDM. OFDM, as earlier I stated, stands for orthogonal frequency division multiplexing. What does it? It is basically a it is basically, you can say, a frequency division multiplexing scheme which uses digital multi-carrier modulation method. We have been familiar with single carrier or a mono carrier modulation method. This is a whole together a multi-carrier modulation method, which means there are n carriers. So there are large number of closely spaced n carriers, subcarrier signals, which are used to carry data on several parallel data streams. Now, what is the main point of OFDM? It is such that the subcarriers, which I am going to introduce to you a little bit further in this presentation, is all the subcarrier signals which are chosen are orthogonal to each other. Now I will introduce to you why this is the feature. I'm not going to say this now. This is basically, as I stated earlier, it is a frequency division multiplexing scheme which uses digital multi-carrier modulation method, where a large number of closely spaced orthogonal subcarrier signals are used to carry data on several parallel data streams or channels. Now, it is different on the base from conventional FDM in the basis like orthogonality concept, which is new to OFDM, which was not there in the conventional FDM. OFDM is very popular and it has wide applications for the wideband digital systems, wideband digital communication, digital audio systems, digital video, television systems, and all, which I'm going to introduce to you in the applications part. Let us proceed to basics of OFDM. OFDM, as we know, it consists of n carriers or multiple subcarriers, where each carrier is modulated with the conventional modulation scheme like quadrature phase shift key modulation, quadrature amplitude modulation, at low data rate. Now, why it is modulated at low data rate? Because as there are so many signals with which are modulated, so if it is modulated at a low data rate, when they combine, correspondingly they will execute a large high rate data system, which then facilitates complete and the efficient use of the band, of the entire frequency band which is allotted. Now let us proceed to the basic characteristics and the principle of operations. Block diagram of an OFDM system, as you see, it is the block diagram are basically serial data input, serial to parallel converter first, then it will go to the signal mapper, then the pilot data, pilot training signal insertion, then there will be guard bit insertion, then altogether what the main feature of the OFDM which comes is the inverse fast Fourier frequency transform, fast Fourier transform, and fast Fourier inverse fast Fourier transform and fast Fourier transform, which is basically the heart of the OFDM and why it is very fast. So here it comes the data line as serial. First it is converted, first the serial data are converted into the parallel data streams, then the pilot bits are inserted, then the guard bits are inserted, then it is then it is done in a frequency domain with a fast Fourier transform. It is converted to time domain through a IIFT, inverse fast Fourier transform. Then digital to analog LPF low pass filter is done. Then it is converted to a threshold signal through, and then pass through the channel. Then again it is at the receiver side. This will be used. There will be a down converter which will down convert to a threshold signal. Then there will be another, the LPF, which will be analog to digital signal. Then the fast Fourier transform will be done. Then remove guard variable will be removed. Then channel equalization will be done. Then, as usual, parallel data streams are converted into single stream of data. Characteristics, the main characteristics of the OFDM systems are the orthogonality concept. All the subcarriers are orthogonal to each other. As stated earlier, what is what is the significance of that? The significance is it prevents the crosstalk between the respective bands and eliminates the need of the guard band. It also has the advantage of not requiring subfilter for each channel, unlike in the conventional frequency division multiplexing scheme. Now, to be orthogonal for a subcarrier and each subcarrier to be spaced orthogonal, each subcarrier should satisfy this condition. That is, delta f is equal to k by t, where k is any integer, delta f is the subcarrier spacing, t is the receiver window size. That is the time until which the sender will pass the wave to the receiver. Orthogonality allows high spectral efficiency because with a symbol rate near the Nyquist rate, it utilizes the complete frequency band. Now, if there might occur that because of the frequency deviation, sometimes that orthogonal or the carriers may not remain orthogonal. This situation gets worse when the multipath reflections come into picture. There will be the information will follow multipath from sender to the receiver, thereby making it difficult for the carriers to be orthogonal. So for us, to prevent these interference, we use the cyclic prefix scheme. Cyclic prefix is what? It is just to remove the interference and the intercarrier interference from the OFD. Now, what is intercarrier interference? Intercarrier interference arises from the fact that the transmitter and the receiver are not synergized or are not in synchronous to each other. So what happens if the subcarriers also not remain orthogonal? It induces an intercarrier interference between the consecutive band. To remove this, we use cyclic prefix. Cyclic prefix is using short filters at the transmitter output in order to perform pulse shaping and an almost perfect reconstruction using a single tap per subcarrier equalization. That is an example of cyclic prefix. Modulation techniques. Let us proceed to modulation techniques. Monocarrier versus multicarrier. Monocarrier, as you can see, it is a simple single carrier modulation method where the guard band channelization, all the noise will hamper on the single carrier. Whereas in multi-carrier, there are n carriers within the simple band, and it will also modify. It will also go through the same as subjected to the monocarrier. But the problem for the monocarrier comes into the picture as it is not that much. It is not that much feasible for the intersimple interference. It has more intersimple interference. It has more intercarrier interference. Then it has again this thing your n long pulses. It doesn't it has a single long pulse. So if there is a your if there is slightly distort in one band, it will completely distort the whole single pulse. Whereas in OFDM, there is if one carrier gets distorted, it doesn't affect the other carriers. So that advantages of multi-carrier are similar. That is, flat fading occurs. There is no like frequency selective fading and everything like that as compared to the mono carrier. Now, the most important part of the OFDM, as I said earlier, is inverse fast Fourier transform and fast Fourier transform implementation. The principle of the operation and benefits of the OFDM were known during the 1970s, but they were not implemented as they are implementing it today. Why? Because of various technological changes. Like during the 1970s, there was no proper digital signal processing techniques, as well as signal processing components were also not being designed. Digital signal processing field was also coming up these days, and it was not economical those days to include digital signal processing, as it was very expensive. Now, due to the advent of the low-cost digital processing techniques, low-cost digital processing components, RF, radio frequency components, radio frequency techniques, OFDM process has become cost-effective. The time to compute the IFT and FFT of the symbols will take roughly in order of the microsecond. Now, there is one thing which people might come into picture like this, like why we can't use discrete Fourier transform or inverse discrete Fourier transform. Let me tell you one thing. We can't use inverse. We is FFT has several advantages over the over your discrete Fourier inverse discrete Fourier transform and fast Fourier transform. The reason is it is fast computation as compared to the IDFT and the DFT, and IIFT and FFT are a very cost-effective method. That's why over DFT. Now, because of linear scales linearly, the computational demand absolutely approximately scales linearly with the FFT size. The meaning of this is as the number of order of the FFT, the number of carrier, the number of order of the FFT increases, the time of the FFT computation will increase. There are various examples in various sites like Wikipedia and all, where we can see like it is like roughly of 896 microseconds, which was given in the Wikipedia thing. So let us proceed to guard interval insertion. Now, what is guard interval? The guard interval is nothing but guard interval or guard band, as we are familiar in communication technology. It is to prevent the co-channel or the co-channel interference or the respective interference between consecutive channels. We insert guard intervals such that there are no interference and anything, no intersymbol interference and everything, no intercarrier interference and all. Now what happens is, now as symbol rates are less affected by, now OFDM symbols are less affected by intersymbol interference. The reason is why, because they have long data rate, long time to get processed. It is very economical to transmit number of data rate streams instead of a number of low data rate parallel streams instead of a single stream. Now, as a guard band insertion gives us an additional advantage, as no specific pulse shaping filter will not be required. Cyclic prefix will be transmitted at the end of the signal, consists of an end of the OFDM symbol copied at the end of the guard band. Now, cyclic prefix is done like, suppose there is when a symbol is getting transmitted, it will copy half or like 25% of the symbol or the 25% duty cycle of the symbol into the cyclic prefix, and it will then transmit it. So at the receiver end, when it will be decoded, it will be decoded like this. Yeah, this is the 25%. This will be the your cyclic prefix signal. This is not the signal actually. So here the transmitter and the receiver worked in synchronous. They are in synchronous together, which will give us the advantage in co-channel in reducing the intersymbol interference as well as intercarrier interference. The reason the guard band will contain the cyclic prefix is the receiver will integrate all the prefix signals over an integer number of sinusoidal signals for each of the multipath process, so that what happens, the receiver gets a buffer size, gets the buffer of the complete signal. Even if it misses one signal, it can it will integrate, so it will get the complete signal of your, it will get the complete cyclic prefix signal by integrating the complete sinusoidal signal, and therefore reducing the complete band even if it misses the one signal. Now let us come to the equalizations. Channel equalization occurs when when there are various yeah single carrier systems which employ time domain equalization. Frequency domain equalization are also there, but OFDM employs frequency domain equalization, which is simpler as compared to the time domain equalization. Now why? OFDM employs frequency division equalization, frequency domain equalization. The channel equalization concept is in OFDM is each information in each subcarrier is multiplied by a constant complex number which rarely changes over the complete process. Now, when DPSK or the DQPSK modulation are used, the equalization can be completely omitted since these non-coherent schemes are insensitive to the slowly changing amplitude. Equalization in the OFDM is easier to implement as the subcarrier is adaptable to other methods rather than just a variable coefficient method such as different QOM constellation schemes. Now, it may also be a case that some of the OFDM signals might carry pilot signals or training signals which provide measurement of the channel solution. Now, together with the pilot signals and the preamble or the training signal, channel equalization can help in time synchronization and frequency synchronization. Let us go to the channel coding and interleaving. Channel coding is invariably used in OFDM, and time or frequency interleaving are always used in the OFDM process. Frequency interleaving decreases the possibility of fading in the frequency selective channels, whereas frequency interleaving ensures that faded subcarriers bit errors get spread over the complete band rather than remain concentrated at a small part, so that the errors will, as the errors will get spread out, it will get less, as it will be very, its density will be very less, and it will minimally affect the actual information. Time intervalling spread out all the bits which originate together in the bit stream to mitigate the effects of the fading when traveling at high speed. The reason why interveiling is used in OFDM is to attempt to spread the errors out in the bit stream that is presented to the error correction decoder. Because when such decoders are present with high correction of errors, decoder is unable to correct all the bits, and a burst of uncorrected errors as well as the decoder errors will get into the information, which will corrupt the information. An example of the interleaving coding uses information used in OFDM system is the convolution coding and the Reed-Solomon coding. Newer systems are based on now turbo. They are LDPC codes, turbo codes, optimal, which uses optimal error correction techniques. Examples of the new systems are LDPC code, like I said earlier, close to which perform close to channel limit. Transmission adaptive. The resistance of the channel interference can be again enhanced if the information is sent over the return channel. Therefore, channel coding, adaptive modulation may be applied to all the subcarriers in there. Now, I will introduce to your term a discrete multi-tone modulation, which denotes OFDM-based communication systems that adapt the transmission to the channel condition individually for each subcarrier by the means of so-called bit loading concept. Okay. Now, OFDM with a multiple access, that is OFDMA. OFDM in its primary form is considered as a digital modulation technique and not a multi-carrier, multi-user channel access method, since it is utilized for transmitting one data stream over a one communication channel using one sequence of OFDM signals. However, OFDM can be combined with a multiple access using time, frequency, or coding separation of the user. In orthogonal, that is what we are going to discuss in orthogonal frequency division multiple access. On orthogonal in OFDMA, frequency division multiple access is achieved by assigning different OFDM subchannels to different users. OFDMA supports differential quality of service by assigning different number of subcarriers to different users in similar fashion as in CDMA, and thus complex packet scheduling or media access control can be avoided. OFDMA is a candidate access method for IEEE 802.22 wireless regional area networks. The project aims at designing the first cognitive radio-based standard operating in VHF low or UHF spectrum. In multi-carrier code division multiple access, also known as OFDMA CDMA, OFDMA is combined with CDMA spread spectrum technique for coding separation of the users. Co-channel interference can be mitigated, meaning that manual fixed channel allocation frequency planning is simplified, or complex dynamic frequency channel access schemes that are avoided. Linear transmitter power amplifier. An OFDM signal exhibits a high peak to average power ratio because the independent phases of the subcarriers means they will be combined constructively. Handling high peak to power average power requires a high resolution digital to analog DAC in the transmitter, a high resolution analog to digital converter in the receiver, a linear signal chain. Any non-linearity in the signal chain will cause intermodulation distortion that has the effects like it will raise the noise floor, it may cause intercarrier interference, it generates out-of-band spurious radiation. The linearity requirement is demanding, especially for transmitter RF output circuitry where amplifiers are often designed to be non-linear in order to minimize power consumption. In practical OFDM systems, a small amount of peak clipping is allowed to limit the PAPR in a judicious trade-off between the above consequences. However, the transmitter output filter, which is required to reduce out-of-band spurs to legal levels, has the effect of restoring peak levels that were clipped. So clipping is not an effective way to reduce PAPR. Although the spectral efficiency of the OFDM is attractive for both terrestrial and space communication, the high peak to average power requirements have so far have limited the OFDM applications in this domain to the terrestrial systems. Now let us discuss one more thing which I am going to discuss in this project is combining OFDM with MIMO, multiple input, multiple output systems. A block diagram of the MIMO is presented, like data symbols are proceeded to each of the OFDM modulator, and as it will be demodulated and all the process is carried out. Now what is the advantage of using, means what is the what is the need of combining MIMO and OFDM? So it combines and couples both the technologies, both the aspects of MIMO and OFDM. So what happens is it signifies multiplying the capacity by transmitting different signals. MIMO is what multiple input and multiple output is. It signifies multiplying capacity by transmitting different signals through multiple antennas simultaneously. OFDM, as we know, it is multiple subcarriers as stated earlier. So MIMO OFDM will become as the foundation for MIMO OFDM will be like it will signify multiplying the capacity. It will transmit the different signals over a single subcarrier. It will transmit one signal over a single subcarrier, but there will be different simultaneously. It will transmit different signals, one signal over a single carrier, and multiplying the capacity by having the number of greater number of transmitting antennas as well as receiving antennas. MIMO OFDM is the foundation for the most advanced wireless local network because it achieves the greatest spectral efficiency and therefore delivers the highest capacity and data throughput. MIMO is very popular wireless communication technique which is used in 4G and 5G technology. While multiple transmit antennas can be used for beamforming and multiple receive can be used for diversity, MIMO generalizes multiplying spectral efficiency. Operation of MIMO. OFDM enables reliable communication technique by distributing user data across a number of closely spaced narrowband subchannels. These arrangement makes it possible to eliminate the biggest obstacle, that is ISI. By dividing a high data rate system into a numerous low data rate system, OFDM enables longer duration signals, which is maybe inserted cyclic prefix, maybe inserted as I said earlier to create a guard interval that prevents ISI entirely. Now it combines both of OFDM, like it will have multiple transmitting antennas, multiple receiving antennas, which will simultaneously receive many signals. As single carrier will be transferred over single channel, there will be multiple channels, multiple carriers, and thereby multiple information systems, multiple information can be transmitted simultaneously. So what it will do is it will have an advantage of higher spectral efficiency, frequency band utilization completely, and it will give us like it will have less time in executing this. MIMO OFDM is particularly powerful in combination because MIMO does not attempt to mitigate multipath propagation. OFDM avoids the need for signal equalization. MIMO OFDM can achieve very high spectral efficiency even when the transistor does not possess channel state information. When the channel state information, like which can be obtained through the use of training sequences, when the transmitter does possess the CSI, it is possible to approach the theoretical channel capacity. More recently, MIMO OFDM developments include multi-user MIMO, higher order MIMO implementation, and research concerning massive MIMO and cooperative MIMO for inclusion in upcoming 5G standards. Applications of various OFDM systems are digital audio systems, digital television systems, WiMAX and all, 4G technology, wireless. I'm talking about OFDM now. Wireless LAN IEEE 802.11a, 802.11g, 802.11n, 802.11ac, HyperLAN 802.11 broadband wireless access system, wireless ATM transmission systems. Advantages: OFDM has various advantages over the other conventional modulation scheme and the conventional frequency division multiple accesses, like higher spectral efficiency. It is robust as compared to the multipath distortion, resistant to radio frequency interference. Equalization is very easy because OFDM symbols are longer than the maximum delay spread, resulting in flat fading channel which can be easily equalized. Flexibility: each transceiver has access to all the subcarriers within a cell layer. High transmission bitrate, chance to cancel any symbol if it is affected by fading. That is, chance to cancel any carrier. Multipath delay spread tolerance. OFDM is highly immune to multipath delay spread because that causes inter-symbol interference. In the wireless, since the symbol duration is made larger, the effect of the delay spread is reduced by the same factor. Immunity to frequency elective fading. In case of the OFDM, the available channel bandwidth is split among many orthogonal narrowly spaced subcarriers. Thus, the available channel bandwidth is converted into many narrow flat fading channel carriers. Hence, it can be assumed that the subcarriers experience flat fading only, though the channel gain phase associated with the subcarriers may vary. Disadvantages of the OFDM: there are various limitations of the OFDM. It has high synchronization accuracy. Multipath propagation must be avoided because orthogonality can get affected. Large peak to average power ratio, which means power amplifier design will be very specific. It is more complex than a single carrier monocarrier modulation, as I have discussed earlier. It requires a more linear power amplifier. OFDM signals has a noise-like amplitude with a very large dynamic range. Therefore, it requires RF power amplifiers with a high peak to average power ratio. It is more sensitive to carrier frequency offset and drift than the signal carrier systems are due to leakage of the DFT. High power transmitter amplifiers need linearization. Low noise receiver amplifiers need large dynamic range. Capacity and power loss due to guard interval, bandwidth and power loss due to the guard interval can be significant. Conclusion: OFDM is a very beneficial technique when it comes to the elimination of the ISI and ICI net, as it is robust to the multipath propagation techniques. It is today a growing technology. It is actually the backbone of the 4G technology. Being such a revolutionized technique, and from all the simulations and from all the scenarios, I conclude that with the 5G in development, OFDM, when combined with different technologies like I have come across with MIMO, it can promise to be another cornerstone for the upcoming 5G technology, along with the Internet of Things and big data. There are also some shortcomings of the techniques which can be removed by using reasonable, plausible, so supportable techniques. Thank you very much.